Hi everyone. Today I want to share this cute little under the sea party favor box that I'm making for my mom. She is hosting the condo that she lives in has a water aerobics over the summer, and it's ending after Labor Day. They close down the pool, and so they have a luncheon, and she wanted some little party favors to put on her table, and she was thinking turquoise and colors like that for her tables, and asked me if I can come up with a party favor. And she was thinking mermaids or something aquatic, so I decided to go with something like this, which is kind of suggestive of fish scales, and maybe has a slight mermaid feel, but it's not super mermaidy because this is a grown-up luncheon, and I thought this would look really pretty. And I thought it would be really easy to decorate around this box because she can look for paper goods in any of these colors, and it would look beautiful on her table. She can also scatter any leftover little fishy scales if she wants to on the table, like confetti, and that would look really cute. And I also made up a bunch of these extra sand dollars, and she can scatter those around the table as well. So I thought I would show you how to make it. Since I have to make 35 of these, I figured I might as well make one of them on video and share it with you. I do use some discontinued product on here because when I make party favors for various events, that's when I try to use my discontinued colors. So I've got Emerald Envy in here, which is discontinued, and I'm using Midnight Muse, but you can change this up and add Call Me Clover and Night of Navy if you were trying to make it today. And this is the Ticket Border Punch. But that's not an absolute necessity for this particular product. You can make the band solid, or the Ticket Punch is actually on the clearance rack right now. And again, this is a clearance ribbon, or an old ribbon that I thought looked nice on the project, but there are other ribbons that you can choose that are current that would look great here as well. So I just want to show you how to make this box. It's a super simple box, and you can get 2 out of 1 sheet of paper. So when you're making a lot, that's really a good deal. And I'm using shimmery white. It's hard to see that on video, but I'm using a shimmery white cardstock, which is a more expensive cardstock. So the fact that I can get 2 boxes out of 1 sheet is a good deal. And they come down to $1 a sheet, the shimmery white, so it's 50 cents for the box. And then I'm using scrap. These are scrap pieces of paper that I have in my bin, so the cost is really minimal here. The only thing that is expensive is glimmer paper too, but you're only using one 12 by 12 sheet, and you can get a ton of little sand dollars out of that. And then this little guy here looks like a starfish. It's actually the center of the sand dollar. So let me show you how to cut this box. Okay, I'm going to score it first at 1 inch. I just kind of make these boxes up as I go based on how big I need them. And so my sides are going to be 1 inch. So I'm going to go up 1 inch. And then the box is 3 inches wide, so I'm going to go to the 4. And then I need another inch for the other side. So I'm going to the 5. And then I need 3 again, which means I'm going to move this over to the 8. Which gives me this little 1/2 inch leftover lip, which is perfect for attaching and wrapping around the other side. So this is going to be where the adhesive goes. So you've got 1, 4, 5, and 8, which leaves you this little strip. Then you're going to turn it on its side, rotate it once, and cut it at 5 1/2. And you have 2 boxes. Now you also need to score one more time at 1 inch for your bottom flaps. So I've got a 1 inch across the bottom. There. So there's my 2 boxes. Now you might think putting these scales on is pretty simple, but I do have some tips and tricks for it, so do watch that. So I like to cut off this little bit here we don't need, and then I cut my ends. You can just cut straight up, but I cut at a slight angle. So I'm cutting little triangles off where my flaps are up to that 1 inch line. That slight angle ensures that when you fold the box, nothing is going to hang over the side, you know, so that slight angle means it's going to fold and not have any little weird little bits hanging over. You know, just in case you don't line it up 100% perfectly. Okay. So that's how you cut it. You're cutting your little flaps, and you're cutting this little bit off and an angle up. And if you want to angle this up too, you can. Okay, now maybe you think that you don't want to put this together till after you've put all your scales on. And actually, I tried it both ways. I did it flat and then folded. And then I also did one folded and flat. What happens when you do it flat and then fold is that when you fold, you have a lot of give and gap, and the fact just folding the paper in half makes it shift a little bit. And my scales just didn't lie nice and flat, and I had a lot of white showing, you know, where here it's good. But my other one that I did, there was tons of white gaps showing when I folded the box. And so this way, by folding it first, and putting on the scales while it's folded, you're going to have a little help with that play of scales, and they still line up nicely. Like I said last time, here where they meet, they ended up not lining up nicely. I had lots of gappage, especially on the sides, and also the first rows near the sides. There was just a ton of gap. So go ahead and do the opposite of what you would normally do, and we're going to decorate while it's folded instead of flat. So I used my tear tape to go down the side. Now we're not going to fold the bottom, we're just folding these sides where our scales are going to go, and get them nice and folded. Okay, and that way we're going to put our scales on something that already knows the give that it needs. Okay, now when adding your scales, all I used was a 1-inch circle punch, and I just used scraps. And, you know, like, I didn't use any full sheets, and I got a ton because, you know, I always have leftover scraps. I save pieces about this size or bigger, and you want to get a bunch of full-size 1-inch circles. And then you think, oh, this is a bummer, I'm wasting here. But actually, you do need some half circles. So go ahead and punch out these little half circles. If you end up not having any, you'll have to cut them. So you might as well use up the paper this way and get some half circles. So I did a ton of circles in various colors. And I've got some Island Indigo in here. I've got Gorgeous Grape and Granny Apple Green. I think I have, this is Gumball Green actually, because I'm trying, like I said, to use up. I've got Midnight Muse. I think this is Tempting Turquoise. Just a whole bunch of colors in the blues and purples family. And some full and some half. So get your halves kind of separated. Now you'll notice I do have some glittery pieces in here, and I want to point out that, again, I have to make a lot, and I only had a little bit of glimmer paper left over from a pack a long time ago, a couple springs ago, called Myths and Magic. I just had a few sheets left over, but I think you just need a couple shimmery scales. Does anybody remember the Rainbow Fish book with the fish that had the shining scales? Anyway, you only need a few. And I think that little bit gives a little punch. So see how I've got just 2 on this box. And so I only needed, and if I'm making 35 of these, you know, then you don't need to have a ton of these little circles. You need, you know, I don't know, 70, which is still a lot. But I was able to get all of them out of a sheet and a half, a 6x6. I think I used 2.5 sheets of 6x6 cardstock or glimmer paper. And I just cut out a whole bunch of little glimmery circles. So let me show you how to put these scales on a folded box. So I found it's best to work on a silicone mat, and I'm going to use some Fast Fuse. You can use liquid glue, but Fast Fuse is faster and I don't have to wait for it to dry, so it's nice. Tear tape is good. And then at the bottom row, you're going to use those little half circles The nice thing about this box is that I used exact measurements in inches, and then the 1-inch circle punch, so you can try really hard to get a straight line of circles all the way across. So you can get 3 circles across without any bend, and then this one is going to bend. So I've got all these across without going on a fold line. And you're just going to go straight across here, flip it, and you're going to do the same thing. The reason why I like the silicone mat is because in between these little spikes here is some adhesive left over, and you don't want that sticking to your paper when you're doing the other side. Okay, so there's my first layer. Now the second layer is going to have a fold, so that's the tricky one. So then I'm going to take my fast fuse and go right across the top. Made a little stripe. You can't see it because it's clear, but there's a stripe right across the top of those. And now we're going to layer. So we're going to go all the way across. I tried to be truly random. I'm trying to not think when I pick up these circles because sometimes you overthink things. All right. So I've got that down, and we're going to flip it. Now this one is going to fold over, so actually let's do it. We're going to fold it over, and then you're going to go ahead with the bone folder and burnish it down. You don't want it to accidentally pop up. So get those, the ones on the side where the fold is are the ones you really want to be careful with. And see how this one's not touching? That's that give I was talking about. We're going to make sure to cover that when we do the next layer. And that's why I like doing it with the box folded, because I wouldn't have noticed that huge gap and I might have missed it, and then when I folded it later it would have been apparent and it would have been too late to fix. Okay, so that's your next layer. Now this one's on a fold, so we want to fold it and burnish it. Okay, and then this one has a wrinkle. That's okay. You're going to see how that's got a gap. So we're going to make sure to cover those gaps on our next layer. And I like to start at the fold line. I'm making sure to cover my gaps. Let's put a sparkly. Okay, now the next line is going to be the half circles again. Okay, so we've got our box. Now let's fold it a few times and make sure that our edges are all good. There. And now you're going to clean up this ragged edge with that strip of cardstock. I've got one right here. So I laid it, kind of tried to decide which side I liked best. I think this one. And that is where I put that little strip. And then I flipped it over. Now that's just an 8.5 strip that I cut down and used the ticket punch that makes the ticket edge. Okay, and there's our little box. Now you're going to go ahead and fold in these corners, and then the side that you decided was your back with the seam in it, push the flap towards that, so all the flappy mess is in the back. Okay, and then I use tear tape on the bottom because you don't know what you're going to put in this box, and you want it to be nice and strong so that stuff doesn't fall out the bottom. So I used some tear tape and I put 2 strips across, and then I take my bone folder and I just burnish it, so then you know it's good and tight. And here's the cute little box. And then I use a hole punch to just punch some holes in here. Now I have this ginormous thing that'll go through 2 layers at once. If you don't have this, you can go through 1 layer at a time. You just kind of take your fingers, your index fingers, and push in to give yourself a little bit of a gusset, kind of. But you don't want it the full length because you want these scales to be nice. So you just give yourself a little gusset right there at the top with your finger and punch 2 holes like so. And then find some ribbon that you think matches a lot of your little scales. I'm going to go with this old Emerald Envy ribbon. I have an old scorer here that I'm going to use to feed that through. Now this box, it'll hold some candies and things like that, but I also wanted to make sure, I wasn't sure what the ladies are going to fill in the boxes. So it'll also fit, you can put little hand sanitizers, a little chapstick. I've even fit my little hand lotion in there, a little small one, and you can fill these up, and those will both fit inside there. Or you can fill it up with some candy if you want to go the candy route. I'm not sure what route they're going. It's nice because the box is not too big that you need to spend a ton to fill it, but you can get some nice things inside there. Alright, so I tied a little bow like so. And then I grabbed a sand dollar. Now these sand dollars are from a die collection called Under the Sea. And here they are. It's a really fun die set, and it has it's for this set that has an octopus in it, which is called Sea of Textures, I think. Yeah, Sea of Textures, and it's got coral and these sand dollars and a net. I might even make some things with this to maybe do some table votive holders or something, and we'll put some nets and some seaweed and coral. But anyway, that's where these sand dollars are from, and it comes with 2 sizes. They're super cute. I love the little sand dollars. So how I attached the sand dollar was with a little bit of baker's twine, and I went through one of the little holes in the sand dollar and around the bow. And then because that sand dollar, when you use the die, has this cute little leftover little piece from the center of it, I thought it would be cute just kind of glued right there. So I grabbed that, and that could look like a little starfish, kind of cute little glitter accent. So I hope you like my little treat box. I think it's fun. You could decorate these in so many different ways. Just think about using one sheet of cardstock to make 2 boxes, and you are on your way. You can just endless possibilities for decorating these boxes and make them for any theme. I've done men's shirts with ties. I've done so many different shape boxes. So check out my party favor boxes. You can just put that in a search box on my blog and put in treat box or party favor, and you'll find different boxes. Anyway, so this is my Under the Sea themed box, and thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will check out other videos and subscribe. And if you're looking for a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be yours. I send out hand stamp thank you cards, and I have a frequent buyer rewards program as well, so you can earn some free stamps. Thanks for watching. Bye.